frequencies open. Welcome to Trek Retrek on Geek the F Out. I'm Captain Johnny.
I'm Ensign Kayla.
Apparently I
You
forgot
got
how
it.
to do this for a second. We are here to talk about episode 22 of Star Trek the Original Series, Space Seed.
Indeed. Also, quick refresher, if you are new to this, we are going through Star Trek from the very beginning under the perspectives of Johnny has seen everything Star Trek, and I have seen nothing Star Trek except for the Chris Pine movies. So, there you go. Now you know.
When we started, at this point, you've seen about, 20 episodes of TOS and 20 episodes
22.
of Strange New Worlds now.
Yeah. So I've seen something, but I'm still a newbie to the Star Trek world.
And
That is for sure.
And one episode of Lower Decks with spoilers redacted.
Yes. Lower Decks.
So TVGuide.com says a race of superhumans created by genetic engineering experiments in the 1990s is discovered drifting in space, frozen for 200 years.
200 years. Yeah. So we start off on the bridge and they're pursuing a ship.
Yeah, and it's an
interesting
opening because it's a shot from behind the captain's chair, which I don't think we've seen that much. Looking at the view screen with just the star field on it, like there's no ship there, but they're pursuing something.
I think we eventually I don't think we see the ship until it's alongside the Enterprise.
They show a shot of it on the view screen once they get it, but it's so funny because it's just boom, it's there. And it's like taking up the middle of the screen. There's no like gradual zoom in on it. It's just poof, bam, there.
Bam. I feel
Flavor
like
Town.
that's not to say. Wasn't it who's the other chef that does Bam?
Emerald?
Emerald.
Yeah.
Bam. Yeah, I noticed that as well. That seems to be a thing they do where it's you can't see it and then all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah.
Like there's no in between.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I get it. So they're pursuing the ship and they're starting to get Morse code from the ship, which Uhura starts relaying to them, and they're like, we're listening to it. You don't have to do that.
Yeah,
they're so rude to her.
That was so weird. Like
usually they're pretty good.
Good job.
I know.
Like she's there to know things like Morse code so that you don't have to. Like let her do her job.
Yeah, that was very weird because I feel like they usually are very respectful to Uhura, except for when Spock like hurls her around.
Yeah,
not that long ago in an episode, just like a doll. But yeah, so then they start to pick up heartbeats from the ship, but they're like, it can't be human. It's too slow. I think they said like 4 beats per minute or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they said that type of ship hasn't been used since the 1990s, and like the ship doesn't seem to be recognizing them, even though they're right next to each other now at this point. But they noticed that it says the SS Botany Bay on it, which they can't find anything about the ship. They think it's probably during the World War, aka the Eugenics Wars in the 90s. So that might be why. So then, they realize they have to go over there, which Bones, as they're leaving, is like, I guess I have no choice but to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so funny.
There's a couple of interesting things. They talk about the ship being the DY-100 class. They say Kirk calls for a full alert instead of red alert.
I noticed that too.
So I don't know why
Weird.
that was weird. The Stardate is three
Maybe
one. Go
maybe
ahead.
that's lowered just to be on alert.
It had the same sound, the same red alert klaxon. Maybe,
Did. Who knows?
maybe a full alert is. See, so
Full and
te-
upright.
technically, yellow alert. I was gonna say maybe full alert is red alert without weapons, but that's a yellow alert. Like yellow
Mm.
alert, or does yellow alert not do shields? I'm pretty sure yellow alert does shields, and some of this is stuff that's not like codified until like Star Trek: The Next Generation. Um,
Hmm.
if I'm remembering correctly, yellow alert is shields up, uh, and then red alert is like shields up, weapons hot. But in next gen, like they always say shields up, red alert. They always call for shields to be raised, but I thought that was just part of red alert. Um, I don't know.
No
Let's see
idea.
if Memory Alpha says anything about full alert.
Okay. Well, you're looking that up. So
Yes.
they are like, oh, we have to ask Lieutenant MacGyver's to come help. And she comes onto the transporter room as along with the rest of them. And I'll save that line for later because it's there's some good ones before they leave. Which also when she shows up, Kirk already forgets her name.
Yeah.
Did you find anything yet?
Yeah, it says full. Memory Alpha says full alert was a state of tactical readiness. Oddly enough, they say he called for a full alert in 2267 when, following apparent invitation to Federation colony on Cestus 3, his landing party beeped down to find a colony site already destroyed. That was in Arena. They don't even mention him. The Memory Alpha doesn't mention him calling for it in this episode.
Hmm.
And then in an
Hmm.
episode of Voyager, Captain Janeway gives an order to have all security stations at full alert. But
Hmm.
that's the only entries for full alert on Memory Alpha.
Interesting. Okay. Um, so yeah, they beam onto the ship and there are all these pods full of gold fishnet humans.
Yes, that was quite the outfit that they were
Yes, it
wearing.
it was quite the outfit. I was not complaining. So they realize it's like a sleeper ship from the 20th century, and they start waking up. At least who we find out is Khan starts waking up,
Yeah,
and yeah, MacGyver's is very mesmerized by him, and they try to like determine where he's from. Scotty makes a certain comment about people of the time that I don't think I'm going to mention that, but it is racist essentially. Um but she says, "Oh, he's probably." It's interesting because she says he's probably from like northern India or a Sikh, which we'll note this is a Mexican actor playing
mm-hmm.
someone from the Middle East slash Indian. So, not okay, but are in 60s. Um, so yeah, he is like waking up but like the pod isn't functioning properly and they're like he's gonna die. So of course Kirk breaks into it in heroic fashion and they pull him out and immediately asks Kirk how long it's been and Kirk is like 2 centuries probably. Um and then they're calling him the casualty.
Yeah, I have that written down too. Like they keep referring to him as casualty. I'm like, what? He's not a casualty. He's not dead.
Maybe that meant something different back then.
Maybe
'Cause, yeah, we assume
meant
it's
injured.
dead. So, yeah, they're back on the Enterprise, calling him a casualty, and Scotty says that there's 72 total, but specifically mentions how 30 of them are women.
Yeah, I wrote that down
I thought,
too. Why? Like, why is
why?
why was
Yeah,
that a
why is that
necessary call out?
important? No idea. Very weird. But yeah, they start to speculate on things and say how that was like a very violent time in history. And how it was pretty much impossible, this ship that they were trying to build, for it to work. So
Mm-hmm.
they're like, why would they hide that ship from records if, this was like obviously ahead of its time and would want to, record it down. And Kirk says that there was a penal colony of that name in Australia, of Botany Bay. And so then as they're like talking this through, they realize, some things just aren't quite adding up. And so Spock is starting to think that it may be dangerous, which smart thinking, Spock. They set a course for Starbase 12, and Kirk goes in to check on Khan. And he also uh wait, did I miss? I think that's before he wakes up. Yeah, because I don't think he hasn't woken up yet. Um, but then he reprimands MacGyver's for
Yeah.
how she
So
acted, which I don't think it was that bad. She was still noting things. She was
yeah.
just a little mesmerized. It's fine. It
I mean,
happens.
she does kind of explain. She's like, not personally, professionally. Well,
Mhm. Yeah.
eh,
Obviously, it was a
but
little personal too.
yeah. And he says something to the effect of, through honesty, I can forgive negligence, or like
Mhm.
something to that effect. Like, if you're honest, I can forgive mistakes. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't think she made a mistake. Like,
Yeah, I don't
but
think she made a
whatever.
mistake either. And I'll just say this quote now, but he says how men were more adventurous, bolder, more colorful at that time. I'm like, what are you trying to imply with that, Kirk? I don't know. Like that would be more appealing to her. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, it's a bad look all around. Like, I
Yeah.
get what they're getting at. Like, uh I guess just in general, men were more interesting in that time than they are. What's that say about you guys now, Kirk?
Yeah, really. Y'all are really selling yourselves short here. um
Maybe a
so yeah,
romanticized view of, she is a historian, so maybe he's alluding to her having a romanticized view of
and clearly
historical.
all these paintings of
Yeah.
Napoleon and all these other people.
Yeah, she also seems to be really interested in, like, fucking psychopaths.
Yeah, just a little
So
bit.
yeah.
Anywho, um, so Khan wakes up, immediately grabs the scalpel from the wall, which I'm like, I get that this is probably like an art piece for the dispensary, but
Yeah.
like, why? Also, why put a real scalpel up there?
Uh
um,
we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Um, but he and Bones have this super funny exchange because Bones does not flinch. He's like, "Are you gonna choke me or are you gonna stab me? Like, pick which one." Because, he's choking him and has the
But
scalpel up to his throat. And then,
and then gives
um,
him pointers.
yeah, he gives him pointers. He's like, "Oh, like if you cut, like that's better to cut behind the ear, some artery that's back there." I was like, "Oh my god." But he's like so chill too. And like and also just very not I guess sarcastic, but literal about his answers because Khan is like, "Where
Yeah.
am I?" And Bones is like, "In bed."
Holding a knife to your doctor's throat. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. So yeah, I just thought that exchange was really funny. And Khan calls him a brave man for doing that. And
Yeah, he definitely is.
yeah. And Bones is like, I was simply trying to avoid an argument. I'm like, okay, sure. And that's when Khan has to talk to the captain. I'll save that line for later. And so Kirk comes in and they start talking, which Khan does not give his name at first. And so he starts asking Kirk questions about where are they heading, like and then Khan's people, like what's going on with them, if they will revive them, etc. And then he finally says his name, and I was like, oh my fucking God, it's Khan. Holy tits. All capitals. But then of course all of a sudden he's like, I'm too fatigued to answer the rest of your question. I'm
full
like,
of shit.
okay. It's like so obvious too. I don't know.
So melodramatic. I am fatigued.
Yeah. I've fallen and I can't get up. And he asked to learn about the ship though, so that's when they like show him the screen and they're like, you can learn everything about it on here, which they defend that by saying like, well, he's going to be with them, you know, he should know more about it. I'm like, I don't know, maybe not show this person you know absolutely nothing about the innermost workings of your ship.
Yeah,
Crazy idea.
Maybe give him the cliff notes, not the full manual. Don't give him the whole owner's manual to the Enterprise.
Yeah, or just like maybe not give any information until you know more about him. Like both with this episode and with what was the one we just watched where they beamed over the pilot?
Tomorrow is yesterday.
Tomorrow is yesterday. And they immediately start showing him the stuff on the bridge. I'm like, what? This is making no sense whatsoever. Anyways, so Kirk starts to wonder if Khan is a product of the selective breeding during that time. And they said in 1993, there were supermen who took over a bunch of nations, which I almost did Superman as one of my spoilers without context. And, you know, Spock mentioned superior ability breeds superior ambition. And then MacGyver's goes to see Khan. And he's like, oh, I was not aware there was also a beautiful woman here. I'm like, okay, bro, I see where you're going with this. And tells her to sit and entertain him.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. You know, and then starts to ask her why her hair is like in such an uncomplimentary way. And she says, you know, it's more comfortable. And he says it's not attractive. And I was like, oh, dear Jesus in heaven.
I thought this was very topical considering the conversation around Sabine and Ahsoka. I'm like, and we would have this scene, this rather uncomfortable scene in this show, watching this at the same time that discourse is happening. Like,
yeah. People need to get rid of their goddamn like patriarchal beauty standards. Anyways, and then he like inspects her hair and then like has her stand and is like kind of taking down her hair is like soft and I forget the other words he was using. It was like
simple.
Fucking simple.
Like, and he didn't really change anything.
No, he didn't. He took down like 2 tendrils because I'm sure her hair was like, it was all probably bobby pinned up. And so it would take a lot of bobby pins to pull it all out. And she keeps trying to like talk to him scientifically, but clearly he's not listening. So she's like, I'll come back another time to do this because clearly this is not going anywhere. But also she's still mesmerized by him at the same time.
So I had a thought about the short hair conversation. Like, people are allowed to have preferences, but like, you don't push your preferences on someone else. Like if Khan like and nobody needs to alter or mold themselves to fit someone else's ideal. Like if someone has regardless, if someone has a shaved head, buzz cut, whatever, and you don't like that, tough shit. Like, that's their choice, their body, their choice, their hair, their choice.
Body,
get over it.
Choice. And not
So,
just the hair on their head, any hair anywhere. It is their body, their choice. And fuck off if you're trying to put that on someone else.
and
Anywho,
it,
go ahead.
hair is weird. It's weird how much like
Hair we have.
hairstyling and whatnot. What?
How much hair we have.
Well, no.
I'm kidding.
It's amazing how much wearing hair in different ways can change the entire way that a person looks.
Mhm.
So and the way the most important person that should be pleased by appearance is the person themselves.
Yep.
So
Amen.
anyway, yeah, fuck off with
Yep.
your oh she should have long hair. Go find someone else who has long hair to meet your
Yeah,
wants and needs. Anyway, tangent
exactly.
time.
Tangent time. Was there anything else up to that point?
I mean, I think it's immediately following this because, like, almost exactly after the scene is when he goes to visit her in her quarters.
Yeah, they're like right after each other because
Yeah,
it's on the way to dinner.
because I have written down, short hair conversation topical because of Ahsoka and Sabine. Also, barely changed anything. Damn it, MacGyver, because she fucking changed it for him.
I know. It's so bad. I was like, girl, no, don't give in to patriarchy. But
And I
before
thought
that, we're
go
showed
ahead.
the dinner setup real quick, and we have the colorful food
Yeah,
starburst cubes again, and also these like green onion looking things with red stuff at the ends.
I thought it was.
Very
I
interesting.
thought it was like celery with like the
It
leaves
looked
left on and like dyed or
painted
painted
red.
red. Yeah.
It looked like that or like green onions, very much so. Um, and Bones mentions how he has a magnetism to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, Khan goes to MacGyver's and her hair is down and he's wearing this bright yellow deep V shirt, which I was like, was this deep V necessary? And he sees all the, paintings that she's done, including one that she's doing of him right now. Um,
Which she got pretty far on that in a short amount of time. I don't know how much time was supposed to have passed, but
yeah, not sure. And he kisses her. They have a little smoochy smooch, and
mm-hmm.
it's once again one of the smush, smoosh,
Smash face, smush
smash
face.
face. God damn it. Words are hard. Yeah, smashed kiss faces. So that was fun. So then they go to dinner. Um,
Oh, wait,
and Con.
in her
Oh, go
quarters,
ahead.
the Napoleon painting. Like I wanted to say that was from Squire Agothos, but I don't think it was. I think it's because I used like a very similar Napoleon painting in my memes that I thought it was from that episode. I don't think the Napoleon painting actually appeared in the episode Squire of Gothos. I just put it in my
Mm,
spoilers without context. So I thought I equated it with that episode.
mm. But
Anyway,
you didn't end up using one for this one.
no, not for this one, no.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but
I
for the
used
other
it for
one.
Squire,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're at dinner and still trying to figure things out about Khan, and he pretty much says it was an adventure voyage, so that's why it's not in history. And I'm like,
Sure.
sure, Jan, sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and he says, like, like, was it tyranny or was it an attempt to unite humanity? And so that's when they're like, ah, fuck, he is no bueno. He is one of the bad ones of that time. And he was like, there was great dreams of that time, for things to change, and thinks one that there should have been one that conquered Earth. And that's when, yeah, Kirk gets really upset and he's like, you fled that time, like blah blah blah. And Khan's like, we offered the world order. And that's when everything just shifts. Puts
Mm-hmm.
down his blue drink, which would love to try that blue drink. And once again says, I'm fatigued. I need to go.
Yeah. Such a drama queen.
Such a drama queen. Which, of course, MacGyver goes to see him again in his room to apologize. But it was a very weird and different interaction because, like, he goes to kiss her and she rejects him. And then he's like, you either go or you stay. And then he's like, no, you have to ask to stay. And I was like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, this is like an abusive relationship and fast forward.
Yeah, it escalates very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she pretty much asks to stay. And then he grabs her hand and she goes down on her knees. And I was like, where is this going? Luckily, it did not go that direction. He says he intends to take the ship and asks her for help, essentially. And she's like, of course, I'll do anything you ask.
Well, at first she was like, no, don't ask me to do that. But then again, she has no backbone and was like, yes, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just summarizing at this point. So Kirk and Co are discussing Khan amongst their cups.
Yes, the cups are there. Cup Watch 2023. It's been a while since we've seen cups.
Has it? I feel like it was a couple episodes ago. Maybe not.
I always rate cups in caps with an exclamation point, so I should be able to find it pretty easily.
But yeah, so they talk about how there were no massacres under his rule, and Spock is like, how are you talking about, because they're like,
Spock is great in this scene.
Yeah, Spock is like, how can you be talking about him like when we're against him yet admiring him? Which is a good point. And I think that's done a lot, but it's just a very fine line of admiration and being okay with what the person did.
Mm-hmm. Quick note, last cups I have written down is episode 17. Squire Gothos would be the last one I have written down. So it's been a few
episodes ago.
Anyway, continue. Yeah, the line between, like, I guess, respect and, like, being able to reflect and I don't even want to use the word admiration because I don't think admiration is the right word for it.
I think they put admire in there. That's why I'm using it. But yeah, it's not quite the right word either.
But just recognizing that, like, the capabilities he had, and they do say, like, there were no, under his rule, there was no massacres, no war until the one that, like, ousted him. But if there were no freedoms, like, is that worth it? That's the question. That was kind of, there was another episode recently that kind of touched on that, I think.
The one we just watched.
Well, yes, to an extent, but for some reason I keep thinking Kodos the Executioner, but that's not it. That was a different thing.
If there's no freedoms, is it worth it?
Yeah.
That theme.
Yeah, I mean that would be just the one that we just watched with the Return of the Archons, where, like, the society is stable, I guess. But
besides the purges.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's a complicated question. I mean, I don't think it's that complicated. Like, without personal freedom, I don't think there's
not much to live for.
Yeah. You may be safe and secure and everything, but how much are you enjoying life without personal freedoms?
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is why you should let everybody be them fucking selves.
Exactly.
And recognize that people are people. And, you know, don't murder people because they're different.
Yes.
Don't murder people because they're different from you. It really just boils down to don't be a dick. Like, that's all it is.
It's not that hard to be a decent human.
Yeah.
Anywho, tangent time. So pretty much they're starting to figure out that Khan is more dangerous, so he orders security to go to Khan's, and Kirk goes to see Khan, and Khan is like, "Why am I being locked up with the guard outside?" And Kirk is like, "I know who you are." Dun dun dun. And there
Khan
wasn't really
Noonien Singh.
much. Yeah, there wasn't too much more to that conversation. Besides, he asked him for answers for like his new life and changes to build the new world. I don't know. I didn't have many notes for the conversation. It was very short too. But Kirk leaves and then Khan busts open the door, knocks out the guard in like one motion.
His ridiculous.
Yeah. He has to like meditate
Yeah.
first. Maybe he has to like summon or like concentrate his power first.
He did that too when he first got up in sickbay before he grabbed the
Mm-hmm.
scalpel. He was like,
Yeah.
I just think of
He's like
the dude from the Big
stretched.
Lebowski with the White Russian in his hand doing the Tai Chi. That's what it reminded me of.
Any chance to quote the Big Lebowski.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling. Yeah. So yeah.
So then MacGyver's takes out the transporter dude. They go back to the ship where everyone has woken up, and we get to see them both in their red suits and also in their goldfish nets, which once again was not complaining. And Kirk is informed that Khan has escaped. Things just start to go to shit on the ship.
Yep.
Shitty ship. And he calls down to engineering where they've beamed back and now they're taking over engineering and taking out poor little Scotty. And their comms get jammed and Khan is like, "Oh, the air is getting thin in there, isn't there?" So everyone eventually passes out except for Kirk, which of course Kirk is the last to pass out.
I thought Spock was still up at his chair too. I think Kirk actually.
No, he mentions it. He's like, even Spock is out.
Oh, when they were panning across the bridge, it looked to me like maybe I wasn't watching close enough. I thought Spock was still conscious and doing stuff at his
Or
console,
maybe
but
he said, I don't know. I swear I thought he said even Spock was out. Like the very last person to be out
maybe the
before
implication
him.
is that Spock passed out off screen while we were focused on Kirk, and then because there's I don't know if it's happening yet, but there are like reports behind the scenes of like Shatner getting ego and being like, well,
Hmm.
Kirk basically can't be fallible, essentially. Like he needs to be the
Oh
best.
no.
Better than all the rest. Anyway.
So yeah, but he eventually he gets captured and tells the bridge crew to join him because, they all get captured. And he gets put in the decompression chamber. And then they take Uhura and they're like, "Show us the viewing screen," and they slap her, which I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get you. You slapped Uhura. I'm gonna come for you. I'm gonna fight you right now. I will find a time travel machine and I will slap you right back. Do not
Nichelle
come for her."
had great looks during that too, like just
Yeah, her like "fuck you" looks,
yeah.
staring deep into your soul. And then right before they're about to slap her again, MacGyver's gets up and says, "No, don't do that." So I was like, okay, are you starting to realize that these people are not good? So they show Kirk in the decompression chamber about to die and pretty much threaten the rest of them like to join or Kirk is gonna die. Which at that point, MacGyver's is like, "Do I need to watch? Can I leave?" And Khan is like, "Sure, but I thought you were better than that," essentially.
Like I hoped you would be stronger. Like
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but then they lose the picture and he's like, "Oh, that's because Kirk is dead." I was like, "Okay." Which Ahura like immediately like throws her head down like she's crying, I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
it was such a weird. It was so like I don't think I can even do it as fast as
Yeah, it was
Michelle did. It
so
was like
fast.
like
Yeah. Yes.
very
Exactly.
quick.
You did it pretty well, I will say. Um so yeah, she goes but MacGyver's her real plan is to go save Kirk. And she
Mhm.
goes and lets him out, and that's when they catch Spock because he's being taken to the decompression chamber next. So they catch Spock, and he does his Vulcan nerve pinch once again. And then him and Kirk plot like, what are we gonna do? So Kirk goes to the engineering room where Khan is.
Which wait, hang on, because one, I want to say props to none of the Enterprise crew for giving in and being like, no, please, not like following,
Mm-hmm.
like doing what they're supposed to do and not like helping the enemy. Two,
Mm-hmm.
not that she deserves it at this point, but MacGyver's like rescues Kirk, and they have a line back and forth for a second, and then Spock comes in and like the camera's off MacGyver's, and they don't even look in her direction or acknowledge that she's there anymore. Like it's just Kirk and Spock, and they
Yeah.
leave. Like what?
They're
She
like
was
peace.
like, just she's not that she doesn't exist anymore. Apparently, she's
I mean,
gone.
are we surprised?
I mean, no, but you know
Yeah.
that was the whole.
Continuity.
Yeah,
At least do it for continuity.
yeah.
The very minimum. She deserves that.
And you
Um,
can't half-ass your being accepting of all uh genders and races and then still be like very obviously biased towards white men. But
yeah.
but also there is only so much
But
that
you
the
can
network
be.
will let you get away with in the
Mhm.
60s. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. Just
Who
noticed it.
knows?
Anyway, continue.
So yeah, goes into engineering where Khan is. Fight ensues,
Yeah, they
which
sure
once
like
again
that using that engineering set for a
they
big
do.
fight and
They do.
and
And once again, clearly can see a stunt double.
yes.
And Khan just bends his phaser
Yeah. It had to
like
be a
to show his
specialized
strength.
prop, but
Oh yeah,
it was like
very bendy.
yeah, I think it was supposed to be more impressive than it was cuz it seemed like
Yeah,
he
it
was
didn't look very
struggling to bend
impressive.
it. No, it didn't turn out good.
No.
It seemed like he was struggling to bend it. I have my phaser.
Mhm.
Um but yeah.
So yeah, more Kirk foo. Kirk puts his legs around Khan, which I'm like, what's gonna happen here?
He did a hurricane rana.
um, and then he just takes a piece of like the ship, like in the controls, and just pulls it out. I was like, okay, that just pulled out way too easily. And uses that to hit Khan, get and make him go down. And not in that way. And that's pretty much it. End of day, they decide to put Khan's people in a reorientation center and they have this little mini trial, which I was very confused. So, like, everyone else just regained control, like, the people on the bridge took over. Like, they're like, it was just him and Khan just because he defeated Khan. That meant, like, everyone else defeated Khan's people.
I
Like, there
suppose.
wasn't, yeah. It was just kinda assumed that that happened.
Well, I think it seems like there's two places on the ship where you can control like everything, and it's the bridge and engineering. And once
Mhm.
Kirk got engineering back under control, he was able to restore power to the bridge and probably like
Mhm.
uh lock down sections of the ship so that the
Mm.
rest of the
Okay.
augments couldn't go anywhere or do anything.
Yeah. It was just interesting how it just, like, skipped from one thing. to the next.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense. But still, that's a lot of like filling in the blanks. Because who knows? Other shit could have happened. And so yeah, they're trying to figure out what to do with MacGyver's, and they're like, "Do you want to go with Khan and his people to this planet we found?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Seriously? After all
Yeah.
this?
Yep.
Girl, why?" So they dropped the charges against her too. And I was like, they're just letting Khan go. Like they're gonna have this reorientation thing, but essentially letting him go to this planet instead of, I don't know, holding him captive as a prisoner somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they sure do. That's what they do.
Which
Uh,
clearly, as we know, there is a movie.
yes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard not to yeah, it's hard not to keep it spoiler free that Khan returns because it's right in the name of the
Yeah,
movie, and
it's
like the Wrath of
yeah,
Khan. So clearly
it's a
Khan
little
comes back.
obvious.
Um
Somehow Khan returned. Except for we know how because they just let him
they
fucking
just let him
go.
go. Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
And that I mean, the Wrath of Khan is widely regarded as one of the best of the Star Trek films. So
Cool.
it'll be interesting once we get there. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Indeed.
yeah, they just let him
Indeed,
go.
indeed. Yeah, they just let him go. That's it for
I
my
I think
notes.
what Kirk is thinking is like they're depositing them on that planet, and they kind of said it can support life, and they say
But
it's
it's gonna be
not going to be
rough.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Khan and the augments are up to the task because well they're fucking augments. Um, I don't know how MacGyver's is going to fare because she is not an augment, but she's going to be around a bunch of augments, so she'll probably do okay.
So they do consider their augments because they are Superman.
Yeah, that yeah. The this is which, and we can start talking about this. This is the origin of all. Obviously, Khan, who we've seen, who you are familiar with from Into Darkness, because
Mhm.
Benedict Cumberbatch is Khan in that, and with
Also, where they
La,
cast a white dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Laan from uh Strange New Worlds,
Mhm.
which they did the right thing there. We see in Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, we see a young Khan who is actually, I believe, an Indian actor
Uh-huh.
playing the role. So they've got someone correct in the role
But
there.
that timeline is a little
Yeah, the timeline gets there's
not
a
quite
little
right.
there's a little rejiggering of timelines and things going on. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll see about that.
And we talk about, and this is why augments are so taboo in Federation culture and in Earth, is because of
Mhm.
Khan. We see
Oh, okay.
with Una and her trial in Ad Astra
Mhm.
Per Aspera, like the reason that the United Federation of Planets and Earth in particular are wary of augments is because of Khan Noonien Singh. That's why,
Mhm.
uh, which is which is kind of odd because they make, although I guess he is in the history books and they talk about what he did, but the him being on the Botany Bay and sent into space on a sleeper ship is what is not documented. Like they didn't have a lot of trouble figuring out who he was once they got his name, of even just Khan. um
Yeah, I'm like, that name isn't common, is it? Conan.
mm,
Ha
I
ha
mean, yeah,
ha.
um I mean, Khan, I think, would be more common, but not the Noonien Singh, which is probably why he kept that to himself. Uh,
Mhm.
so
Apparently.
yeah, this is the origin of all that, of all of
Amazing.
Laon's backstory and of
I was not expecting it to happen so soon.
Yeah.
So soon.
And
I mean, we're 22 episodes in.
yeah.
But I mean, I was like, oh, maybe it'll be in another season of TOS.
Well, and it's one of those things where it's one of those things with TOS where this is a one-off episode and they don't really mention it much again, and it really gets picked up and um explored further by later series. Um
Okay.
even in the Wrath of Khan, this isn't really spoilers. The aspect of him and his people being augments isn't really pivotal to that movie.
Explored. Okay.
Yeah. It's more
Interesting.
the later things down the line. And much more recently with Strange New Worlds and La'an and Una, where it really there's some stuff in DS9 about augments, but
Hmm.
those are the main places where it comes up. There's some stuff in Enterprise about augments and the eugenics war, and later things like in this they talk about the eugenics war and World War III being kind of the same thing, and later series
Which is
kind of
very interesting that they
split
thought it
them
would be
into
in the
yeah.
90s.
They later kind of split them into two different things. There's the eugenics wars, and then there's World War III, which I think Pike talks about World War III in the very first episode of Strange New Worlds. And then the eugenics wars are separate from that, and originally earlier in the timeline, but now getting pushed back. It's funny
Hmm.
because the according to Memory Alpha, the original treatment uh had the Botany Bay leaving Earth in 2096. Which if they had gone with
Oh.
that, if they had gone with that instead of 1990, we'd probably like because some people have gone to try to make the canon fit with the real world because obviously we don't have augments, we didn't have a eugenics world or World War III yet.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so people have tried to like move things around to make it fit within canon. If they had said 2096, we might not have had they might not have done that. Like they might have just
Yeah.
let things go. So it was interesting to see that it was originally 2096 and they moved it up to like 1996. But
I wonder why. Who knows? Who knows? Um, anything else?
uh well, no, what do you think about this the origin of Khan compared to what you know of Khan from uh Into Darkness, and
Yeah.
what do you think about does it give you if you've even thought about this yet, does it recontextualize things with La'an for you from Strange New Worlds or anything with Una and the augments?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about the augment version because I didn't know about that. And I didn't think of him in that way just because they kept referring to them as like Supermen.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, makes sense. Um, yeah, I think it definitely gives context to La'an's character and just, why she doesn't like talking about it. Um, I context to a point because he did not great shit on Earth, but like they said, there weren't massacres either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, has he done anything that bad yet? So I don't know. It's hard because the timelines are all over the place because in Strange New Worlds, yeah, it wasn't the 1990s.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of just going along for the ride at this point because the timelines are all swapped up. But yeah, it definitely gives a little bit more context to context. Ha ha ha
uh,
ha. um yeah, I really don't have too many thoughts of it. In terms of the augments, I guess now that we've talked about it, um, it makes sense a little bit why people are wary of them for sure.
mm,
That makes sense, but we have come a long way since then.
Yeah. Okay.
See ad astra per aspera.
Yeah. So that does it for me for general thoughts. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have anything else, then we can go to favorite lines and moments.
Yes, indeed. Um, I mean, my one of my favorite moments, which I think I mentioned before, was Bones and Khan interacting when he
Yeah.
first wakes up. For lines, Spock says at the beginning, "I can't understand why it always gives you pleasure to see me proven wrong," to
Mm-hmm.
Kirk. And then when Kirk and Bones are leaving, Kirk asks if Bones is ready, and he's like, "No, signed aboard this ship to practice medicine, not to have my atoms scattered back and forth across space by this gadget." To
Yep.
which Kirk says, "You're an old-fashioned boy, McCoy."
Yeah, we talked
Um,
about that a little bit. I think it was I forget what episode it was, but there was something where I was like, that's in character for McCoy because he does not like the
mhm.
transporter. This is another
Yep.
part where that comes up.
Yep. You can go. I have a couple more, but you can go.
Um yeah, I mean a lot you've mentioned a lot of the ones that I had already. The stuff with McCoy and Khan in sickbay, same lines with, Spock about the uh always gives you pleasure to see me proven wrong. Um
Mhm.
I do like, care to join the landing party, Doctor? Well, if you're actually giving me a choice, I'm not.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Um,
He's not.
um, yeah, there wasn't like, nothing's really sticking out to me as like in particular. There's one other one that is in in that's what they said. So,
Okay. We'll save it
um,
for that.
I did
I do.
also like the dinner was a good scene, and then
Mhm.
uh Spock being vexed by Scotty, Kirk, and McCoy, like talking about Khan in an almost an admiration sort of way.
Mhm.
Like that was a good scene. Um,
Mhm.
those would be my other favorite parts of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the line that Bones said to Kirk, "Pity you wasted your life on command. Would have made a fair
Oh yeah.
psychologist." And Kirk's like, "Fair?"
Yeah.
Um, and then
Cocky
when
motherfucker.
he yeah, which after Khan wakes up and Bones calls Kirk and is like, "I have a patient here with many questions."
Yeah.
And Kirk automatically like knows what's going on. And he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, we need to talk." Um yeah, I think all of those are that's what they said. Um we offered the world order when Khan screams that out and pounds the table.
Hmm.
Uh I think that's it for quotes. There are a lot of like fun stuff or just entertaining scenes in this
Yeah.
episode for
I
sure.
I will say a least favorite moment was, I feel like Kirk did kind of like overcome Khan pretty much the same as he overcame like his
Yeah,
fight.
if he's supposed to be a Superman and he's just hitting him with this stick thing.
Like I think his fight with Finney was harder than his fight with Khan in engineering.
Mhm.
Um, I do think that was
Like he's
something
supposed to
that,
be Superman.
yeah, in the darkness made Khan more realistically a Superman. Like it was much harder
Yeah.
for them to take him down. Um,
Yes.
but yeah,
Indeed. Indeed,
so
indeed.
yeah, that pretty much does it for me. If you don't have anything else,
Oh, that's it.
Then that will bring us to That's What They Said. Um,
I'll go first. Because
okay.
I had you go first last time.
Yes.
Please sit and entertain me.
I'm glad you came.
Please do it again.
I'm a little pleased myself.
Yay. That's it. Short
Yeah.
but sweet.
I'm glad you came. Please do it again. I was like, that has to, if she doesn't put that
Yeah.
in That's What They Said, what's even happening?
Yeah. It
So
also made me think of the song of I'm glad you came. So good. Love that song.
that
Classic,
will
which
bring
Time
us
Slice
to
did a remix of it. Now I'm just saying words.
they'll bring us to episode trivia from Memory Alpha. There's quite a few, so I'm gonna go through them
Indeed.
pretty quick. Like, it was
Okay.
hard to just not want to read the entire like trivia section of the Memory Alpha page for this episode because there's a lot there.
Indeed.
I talked about the 2096 thing. The other ones that I picked out. This episode reused a lot of music from earlier episodes. Most of the music is taken from Charlie X. Some of Alexander Courage's cues from The Cage were reused. Most notably the Telosian illusion theme. One piece of music from Where No Man Has Gone Before was reused in the fight scene between Kirk and Khan in engineering. I thought this was funny. This is a deleted scene. A scene featuring a female character named Baker, who was a friend of Marla MacGyver's, was scripted and filmed, with Baker being played by Barbara Baldwin, who played Angela Martine in Balance of Terror and Shore Leave. Yet another character. Because
oh my god,
remember during Shore Leave we said the character in the script was actually a different character, but then we're like, wait, she was this character in like the episode you just filmed, so we need to change it. And then she would have been another different character in this one. But it ended up as a deleted scene. Several sources still claim Baldwin is appearing in the episode as Baker. Portions of this deleted scene are available to watch it says in Star Trek the original series, the Roddenberry Vault. In this episode, Spock is shown using the Vulcan nerve pinch in sickbay on one of Khan's augments. When Spock tries using the same technique on Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness, however, it doesn't work. One explanation is that Khan found a way to make himself immune to it. I mean, yes, but no, because the thing in Into Darkness was like Space Seed didn't happen in the Into Darkness. Like the movie was basically Space Seed. I think it just didn't work on augments in the Kelvinverse. The unique engineering clubs, one of which Kirk used to subdue Khan during their fight, were never used or even seen in another episode. It's so clubs in quotes. It's not.
I wonder what it actually did.
Yeah. It was just there so Kirk had something to bludgeon Khan with, because it's never used or even seen in another episode. Nor is the collection of ancient medical instruments that adorns the wall in sickbay. So you're talking about the scalpels on the wall?
Yeah.
Never appear again. Then never appeared before or after this. Just there for Khan to grab one and threaten Bones.
How funny.
The mirror that figures in during I keep wanting to read it as MacGyver's, but it's MacGyver's. The mirror that figures during MacGyver's hairdo scene is seen again in a future episode. And then the eugenics wars and the notion of genetically augmented humans also served as a background for the animated series episode The Infinite Vulcan, as well as several fourth season episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. And as we discussed, a bunch in Strange New Worlds with La'an, and some stuff in DS9 with genetic engineering. So,
okay.
But there is a ton more stuff with continuity and like other things on the Memory Alpha page. There's a lot of trivia about this episode, so go check out the Memory Alpha page for Space Seed.
Okay.
That will bring us to your memes and spoilers without context.
Memes.
And I believe I went first last, or you went first last time with memes.
Yeah. So you go.
So I will go first. We'll bring my
You
spoilers
go, then,
without
Poco,
context
you
up
go.
on the screen. And then, I mean, I think these are fairly obvious. We've got, I wonder if Angus MacGyver is an ancestor of Marla MacGyver's, spelled completely differently.
Yeah,
But
completely differently.
hey, it like 200, 300 years difference. Or
You never
200 years
know.
difference. That can happen. And then I had to use Benedict
That's
Cumberbatch
true.
because of
Come on her back.
yeah, yeah, because of
Because of that.
him playing Khan in Into Darkness, and then Australia because of
Australia.
Botany Bay and all the implications there with the prison ship and whatnot.
You didn't want to do a specific picture of Botany Bay? Does it exist? I actually don't know if it exists.
No, I googled it and I just decided to use Australia.
Okay.
And then the "look at me, I'm the captain now" meme, because again the
Yeah.
Enterprise is taken over by other people.
Why does this keep happening?
Yeah. Well, when you give someone the manual that tells them specifically about like all the anti-personnel measures on the ship, then what do you expect?
So smart.
So those are mine.
Smart.
We will now bring Ensign Kayla's spoilers without context up on the screen.
Yes, we both had the same idea with MacGyver. Clearly.
Yep, of course we did.
I decided to throw Napoleon in there, and then we got the sleeping hibernation pods from Alien, and then we have La'an Noonien Singh, because duh.
Yeah.
Pretty straight to the point as well.
Yep.
Straight, no chaser.
Very good. So those are our spoilers without context. That will bring us to ranking the episode. Ensign Kayla,
dun.
How do you rank Space Seed?
Which, once again, very interesting name. This one is hard. That's what they said. Because I want to give it a captain because it's Khan.
Mm-hmm.
I just was kind of underwhelmed by it, though, at the same time. Okay. But I don't know. I feel like you have to watch it because it's Khan, though. It's the first Khan episode ever. So I will put aside my own feelings towards it, which I know sometimes I use those as the reasoning, but I think today, because I know it is an important episode, I will give it a captain and say you have to watch it.
Okay.
That is all.
Very interesting. I'm giving it captain too because it's the fucking Khan. Not only is there a movie with Khan in it, because the Wrath of Khan, I mean, that's you can't spoiler tag that. It's in the name. Like, you're gonna see Khan again in a whole movie. And then the other version of Khan in the Kelvin verse and Into Darkness, and then with La'an and all her backstory being a descendant of with Khan being her ancestor. Not a like I don't know if she's like, I mean, it's the same last name, so I'm assuming she's a direct descendant of Khan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm also going to give Space Seed the rank of captain. So unanimous rank of captain for Space Seed. And we are what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're 7 episodes away from the end of season 1.
What?
Our next episode.
Where is time gone?
right? And we do these weekly, so it's been 20. This will be 22 weeks because we have not missed a week since we started releasing these.
You're not.
So that's what, like, almost we're coming up on 6 months of doing this thing.
June, July, August, September, October. 5 months.
Well, 30 weeks.
We started.
6 months.
We started May.
5 months.
We started
Yeah.
May 11th.
Yeah. I mean, we're still. It's not an incorrect statement. We are coming up on 6 months. We'll hit 5 months first, but we are coming up on 6 months.
That's
I'm
how time
technically
works.
correct. The best kind of correct.
Okay, you are correct. Jesus Christ.
So the next episode is A Taste of Armageddon. IMDb.com says Kirk and Spock must save their ship's crew when they are declared all killed in action in a bizarre computer simulated war where the actual deaths must nevertheless occur.
Dun dun dun. Yeah. Looking forward to that.
More computers deciding your fate.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us on this episode. Thanks everyone who's joined us in the chat, or if you're watching on the replay, feel free to drop a comment, and make sure to smack that like, smack that subscribe, smack that bell icon, smack all the things. Yep, they're telling you to. And if you want to follow us, you can follow us at GTFO channel on all the socials, Insta, Twitter, aka X now, Threads, all those things. If you want to email us, you can email us at, I have to say at though, channelgtfo@gmail.com. It is just the reversed. And coming up tomorrow, when this episode comes out, we will be talking about episode 8 of Ahsoka with Brick Something and Highly Articulated Adam. And we'll be talking about what episode 8 first. And then we're going to have a pretty much like a bunch of people who have already been on, like, panel of people to talk about the season in general of Ahsoka. So they'll kind of talk about episode 8 particular, like specifically. We'll all talk about it, and then we'll have a bunch of people on, including maybe some new faces as well. So very excited for that. So far I've been loving Ahsoka, so we'll see.
Indeed. Yes.
How it goes. Very excited. Very excited. I mean, when this comes out, we will already have known, but we're recording ahead of time, so spoiler alert.
Yeah. The magic of YouTube.
Yeah. Until next time, though, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.